What's up, Mitch? How you doing, man?
All right, how are you?
I'm good, bro. Good, man. I really appreciate you taking time to come on, man.
That's
Um,
all good.
Try to talk about something a little different with you. I'm sure other people have, but this is stuff that was kind of in my mind. I mean, the first interview I saw you on was Lockdown 23 and 1. And
Yeah,
man,
Josh.
man, blew my mind, man. That was a great interview. Still, I think it's still a classic, man, and a hard one for anybody to beat. So what
Wow.
I kind of wanted to cover with you, man, is after prison stuff.
hmm
Not to mention the fact that we'll also talk about it towards the end is that you went back to prison, man. So I mean, people are gonna, that's something too. I mean,
Yeah, I
I want to
did.
hear about that. But so let's start off with how long has it been since you were released from prison?
I got out September 29th. It'll be 7 years.
7 years,
Yeah,
man. Oh
yeah.
man, that's great, man. That's about the same as my buddy. I think it's about the same amount of time. That's really great, man. And
Crazy.
all it is, and it flies by too, right? I mean, think about it, man.
Yeah.
That's geez. And you were there for 38 years. You were
Yeah, I
locked
was
up
in
for
the for 38 years. Yeah.
38.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's nuts, man. So, do you remember what it felt like that first day, man, when you were released, like coming out and you're free, man? What was the feeling, man, at that time?
Well, the first day I got picked up by my mom. My mom sold her house in California and she moved to Las Vegas. But so she picked me up and I had to go from the prison to Los Angeles. And
Right.
we're in Central California, kind of. So
Yeah,
all
I
I could
remember.
think of was all these guys I had seen throughout the years that got violated because they didn't report to the parole office the same day, right?
Hmm.
And the parole paper said report uh, no later than the following work day or some shit like that, right? Well, I got on a Friday, so the following work day would be a Monday, and so, but I just like I called, and this lady's like, "You better get down here right now," and I'm like, "Fuck, I gotta get there." They close at 5. We got there like 15 minutes to 5, and there's some black dude in there, parole officer. He's like, "Man, you're fucking my weekend up. It's Friday. I live 3 hours from here. You're wah wah wah." I go, "Hey, dude, I seen guys get violated for not checking in." And
Yeah.
he goes, "Read the paper. It says the following workday. That's Monday." So I'm like, "All right," So he chilled out. I give him a piss bottle, and that was my main concern, was getting to the parole office in time, so I didn't get violated for
Right.
not checking in. But
Yeah, you don't want to start off like that, right? Jeez.
yeah, but he told me, he goes, "Hey, things are not the same. They've changed."
Oh,
So they weren't on the lock them up forever trip anymore. They were like, trying to thin out the prison population in California, so they weren't violating guys like they used to. So he
right.
let me
Just for
things
anything.
changed, and then my next order of business was uh, so since I had 3 days, my mom checked into a Best Western hotel, and we stayed there for 3 days till Monday. I went swimming, and I had some pork chops and shit, and I just, it was pretty cool. I was just thinking, man, I'm out. It's just the fucking
Man,
nightmare's over. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's
so I didn't have anywhere to live actually. I paroled to Los Angeles because I wanted to go to the Francisco homes. They're run by a Catholic nun, Sister Teresa, and uh, I hadn't actually formally got accepted by them. So the other option was uh, go to transitional housing sponsored by the state. And man, them places they're like community prisons. You can't have a cell phone for 30 days. You got to get a pass anytime you leave. It's like being in jail with a little bit of free time on the street. And I'm thinking, I'm out. I did my time. I'm over that shit. And so I called a friend of mine, Steve. He was in the Francisco homes, and he worked it out, and I got accepted in there. I went and saw my parole officer, She's like, I'm thinking I could get you in Amity, you know, and it's a program. And I go, I think that's like the last place I want to go. And she says, well, you know, where do you want to go? And I told her, and so I got accepted as a you sleep on the couch because there's no room, you know, in the Francisco homes. And then some guy left, and I got a room. But
Wow.
I just thought, man, you know, I was elated, you know, and it was pretty emotional to be free after all that time. But you know, my mind was working like, you know, I'm out now, so I got to get organized and figure out how I'm going to live. And the initial thing was to get housing, transitional housing. They want you to do at least 6 months in transitional housing. So I was living on 54th in Vermont, down in Los Angeles, South Central Los Angeles. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you
man.
know, we
That,
got, and you know,
that's where
so
you go straight to there, huh?
yeah, the Francisco homes, man, they don't have no curfew. They don't have no. You can have your cell phone. You can have your money. You can have whatever, you know. And the only rules really are just, you know, no drugs, no alcohol on premises, and, you know, no violence, all that shit. But they give you enough freedom to hang yourself or succeed, one of the two, you know.
Right.
And
Right. So you had a mixture of excitement for the freedom and stress of trying to make sure, you know, that you didn't want to immediately violate or something like that, you know.
yeah,
So yeah, I hear you, man. Kind of
yeah, and
combo on
I had,
that.
I had a little bit of money, so you know, once I got situated, I waited about a month or so. Then I got a job at a job readiness program. You know, sweeping sidewalks and pulling trash bags in all over Los Angeles. Then I got a route down on Figueroa. But I mean, I worked in the industrial district. I worked in Skid Row. You know, I seen all the homeless shit, all the dope addicts, all the madness like that, man. It's like, you know, which now I see all over the country, but you know, I'd
Yeah.
never seen that shit before. I just blew my mind. It was kind of, it was sad and it was frustrating. It was also kind of scary because, like, you know, how do them people end up like that? You know?
Like a culture shock, man, coming back to that, seeing
Yeah,
something that wasn't there before. The landscape's different with that.
yeah,
So
yeah. I
damn,
got
yeah.
posted in 1979. There was definitely none of that shit back then.
Mm-mm. No,
You know?
man. Even into the '80s, really, man. I mean, crack hit, and it was like, yeah, yeah, that, but it wasn't nothing like where there's Skid Row everywhere in every city, you know,
Yeah,
tent
yeah.
cities and stuff. So yeah, totally different, bro. So you mentioned pork chops, man. One of my questions was going to be, what was your first meal, or what was your, you know, meal that you were really wanting? I mean, uh, was
Yeah.
that it? That
I,
was the one you wanted?
there was this restaurant called Ozzy's down by where we were staying at that Best Western, and so I went over there. I had pork chops, I had steak, I had hamburger steak, you know, steak and egg breakfasts, and yeah,
Nice.
it was good. I went on a pork trip for a while because California prison they don't give you no pork anymore.
Oh, is that
So
right? They cut out pork.
oh yeah, they cut that out years ago, and so actually they don't give you hardly any meat anymore. It's all soybean and shit, but
Oh,
yeah, so I went on this pork trip, man, like carnitas and pork chops and just anything pork, man. I was on it for about a month and a half. I got burned out on it, but that was that
yeah.
was the deal, you know.
I can imagine, man. I mean, no matter what your favorite thing is, once you do it for so long, you're gonna be like, all right, man, I'm good on that now, man. I ate enough pizzas or whatever it is, pasta or
Yeah,
whatever. I got
yeah,
you. Okay,
yeah.
so after being after being locked up, man, for 38 years like that, what do you think the hardest part of being in the free world was? Even from there, even to now, what was the hardest part for you to just either adjust to, or, you know, the difference for you?
Well, you know, in prison, I always had a job. You know, once I got out of the hole and just quit getting in trouble, I always had a job, and you know, I mean, jobs are readily available in prison. So for me, finding gainful employment, that's been my biggest hurdle, you know. I got a decent job right now, but I got to drive 90 miles to work and 90 miles home. But you know, like I said, work that's been one of the most difficult issues and frustrating. I had a good job in Sacramento. It used to wear me out. We used to clean out homeless camps and do illegal dumps. But like I said, in Los Angeles, I had a job with Chrysalis. It's a job readiness program, nonprofit. And so they pay you minimum wage. I think I was making $13.50 an hour or some shit. But I had an 8-block radius. I used to walk with a cart, sweep the sidewalk and the gutter, pull trash bags and set them in a spot where they pick them up. I did that 5 days a week. And then I got another job with this thing called Pit Stop Monitor, where they have public bathrooms in Los Angeles, but the gangs and shit were taking them over, charging people to use the bathroom, prostituting in them, selling drugs out of them, all that kind of shit. So they hired a bunch of us ex-convicts, mostly lifers, to work. And so our job was to monitor the bathrooms. And like one person could use the bathroom when like someone go in there with like a male or female, what time they go in, what time they come out. And we had a cart with like, because most of it's in like my spot was in Skid Row. So I had hygiene kits. I had Narcan in case somebody OD'd. It's pretty cool. And then after I did that, that was pay increase to $16 an hour. I thought I was rolling,
Yeah, balling in.
I worked there for 4 days a week, and then I kept the Chrysalis job 3 days a week. I had to go down there by 5 o'clock in the morning, stand in line, and the first 10 people used to get work, And I got to see Los Angeles and the pretty seedy side of it, but still it's kind of cool. Right. I had a motorcycle. I could travel around. I used to go to the beach and shit. And so then I moved up to Placerville. I had a job grinding metal for a while. That was kind of rough, grinding scale metal. But I got a job cleaning out homeless camps and shit, and that was pretty good. And I had that for about 6 months, 7 months, and then some protesters. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that, bro. I didn't know if you want to talk about it or not, but I remember.
I just got parole, luckily, and they have an organization. Well, it's actually, hey, chill out. It's actually some dude and his old lady. It's called Black. Hey, Chewy, my little gangster dog.
That's a little guy, man. The hardcore, yeah.
What are they barking at? Sorry about that.
That's sorry, man. They're making sure everything's straight.
So, what the hell are they barking at?
The dog's laying outside.
So it's called Black Zebra Productions. Quiet. And they were filming us, and a bunch of chicks, and then some dudes, and they had this dude my size but real young, and he's like, they're like calling us pieces of shit, threatening us, and it was a madness. This was a big camp right on an overpass. They were throwing their trash down on the freeway embankments, and it was in a neighborhood, and they're pissing in the gutter, shitting in the street, right across the street from people's homes. They've been there for years, so when they got kicked out, it was a big deal, and so these people are protesting, and one dude's like, I'm gonna smash you, and he's all animated. I'm gonna smash you. I'm gonna fuck you up, and then he goes, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill your fucking ass, and he's real animated. So when he said that, I just kind of pissed me off.
I remember seeing it. Yeah.
I pulled my work knife out and flicked it open. I told him, "Fuck, come on."
Right. Let's roll.
And he pissed on himself, but they were baiting me.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's what they wanted to do, man. What's up?
It was on film, and it was on the news. It was in the newspaper, and those people put themselves off as journalists. So it was like city contractor threatens journalists. They had fucking city council meetings about it.
Damn,
it was fucking bullshit. So I lost my job.
Yeah, I remember, man. I really did, because I think a lot of people were probably, that like you were probably worried, man. Damn, I hope nothing happens. You know, because it was, man, that was a real shitty situation, man.
And one of my coworkers called me the next day and he goes, hey, because, we work with the cops, the victim guys,
Okay.
and he goes, hey, I go, what's up? He goes, hey, man, the cops I go, yeah. He goes, they said to tell you they love you.
Ah, man,
because those people fuck with the cops too,
Right.
They're like Antifa style people,
Right. They're agitating them, trying to get them worked up to bait you, like you said, man, to get you to do something. Yeah,
I did because I'm stupid, but they're con motherfuckers,
Hey, man, somebody threatens you, bro. You have to let's go. That's all there is. There's no.
Yeah, where I come from, prison. Somebody threatens to kill you, they're going to try to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that everybody would take that serious anywhere.
Trigger.
Somebody tells me that, man, it's going. I'm ready.
Yeah,
I take that very serious, man. So
fortunately for me, he didn't run up on me because he would have lost, and I would have lost. I would have lost too.
I don't know, man. I think they would have self-defense. I think you'd have been good. I really do, man. I'm serious, man. I'm honestly, man. I think in the reality of it, in the big scheme, may have had some trouble for a while. You may have beat the case, but you wouldn't have beat the ride right off. So
yeah, I mean, I would have went to county jail, would have had to fight it, no bail.
Who wants to mess with that?
So in the end, I'm glad the guy peed on himself.
It's better to have him piss on himself, bro. Hell yeah. So from here, no, go ahead, bitch. Did you have anything else you want to say?
That's a few odd jobs. I work for Stericycle. I used to collect all the Sharps containers out of the hospital. Okay. That was like a 1 day a week job, and they paid me $30 an hour for that. Nice. But like in Arizona, I've been doing like handyman shit and whatever. And then I got a job as making cabinets for about 7 months, and I got fired from there. They said I had an incooperative attitude. They hired some broad from Kansas, and they made her a manager over me. And this fuck motherfucker and would just stand around and do nothing all day and like boss people around. My job was to build the cabinets, assemble them, run them through a case clamp, and shoot them through. And then her job was to put the drawer guides and the drawers and the doors on, all that, send them down the line, right?
Right.
They just be backed up, bro. I mean, 10 or 15 cabinets, and they're just freaking out. They don't know how to keep up and all that shit. And then, so one day she wasn't there. She's supposed to be a manager, Lazy, bro. I don't like lazy people. Not when I have to work around them. And kind of disrespectful, rude. She's from Kansas City, Kansas somewhere. And I'm like, hey, you ain't in Kansas no more. You know what I'm saying? But one day she wasn't there. I helped organize the guys on the other side of the assembly crew. We knocked out 57 cabinets in one day. I built them, and they put in the drawer guides, all that shit, and sent them out the door, So, I mean, I know how to organize guys to get them to function and work and get the job done, So I don't like lazy motherfuckers. So I ended up getting fired from that job.
For knowing how to run it right.
Yeah, not wanting to put up some lazy piece of shit. And the guy that hired her is a fucking turd. And I was like the 5th person that got fired over this person. So instead of admitting he made a mistake by giving her a job as manager, he just fires anybody that has a problem with her.
Right. So, just get rid of everybody else.
Yeah, and so it's funny is I got fired on a Thursday. And I contacted a guy. He does maintenance on all the CNC machines and all that shit. I met him through that job. He had an interview for me on a Monday, and Wednesday I was working. So 6 days after I got fired, I was working with a $2 pay increase. So now I'm making craps tables.
Nice. So that's what you're currently
I make
doing right now. That's what you're working.
I do the craps tables. I do the tubs, all the rubber and all that stuff around the inside, right. and then all the wood or hard surface on the top, chip trays, all that kind of shit. So we're doing actually righteous woodwork, and it's a trip, man, because that old job, they're like, yeah, we're family here. This is your second home, blah blah blah. But look, they fire you, and everyone's miserable there. And then I go to this other shop, and they're like, the people that run the shop don't say none of that shit. But the guys that work there, they go, hey, man, you know, like this Hawaiian dude, he goes, hey, you work here, you're never going to want to work anywhere else. You know, and then they come and drop like 2 or 3 pallets stacked 4 foot high full of drinks, you know, sodas, Gatorades, water, fuck this, like here. They just come and drop it on the floor.
Cool.
Like, here you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool, man.
Got a more
be in that environment.
They appreciate what you do. So, I mean, so yeah, biggest challenge for me is work.
Oh, that's awesome.
Finding
man.
work. I live in the desert, so, you know, there's not a lot of work close by me.
Right.
I got to drive 90 miles to work every day and 90 miles home. That's the only downside, you know. But fuck it. It gets the job done, right?
Yeah, it's cool because you're away, but yeah. Right. Yeah. No, it's good. That is one good thing. I like being away or whatever. Yeah. But you do have to travel to wherever you're going, man. I got
yeah.
you. Okay.
But you got to pay bills.
So,
man.
like, yeah. No, man, that's right. I mean, listen, that's part of being out here. It's part of being a man and being a productive part. I mean, that's amazing, man. That's your that was your main problem or worry or whatever. I mean, it just attests to who you are, man. And that's why you're still at 7 years later out here fine, because you have,
you know, like in prison, man, like I don't really, you know, like you learn in prison, like there are dudes in prison they'll fucking get with the shit. They'll take somebody out the box, you know, for whatever reason. And then you got guys that walk around with their chest puffed out and act like they're that guy, you know, but really they're not. And after you do a certain amount of time in prison, you realize, you know, which guys are who, you know, and you know, who's faking and who's not. And so out here in the world, man, like it's really easy. I mean, most people out here don't want problems, just want to do their thing. Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at. I want to do my thing and be left the fuck alone. So dealing with people has not been an issue. You know, I'm pretty well grounded.
That's good.
Work is the thing, you know.
Yeah. Keeping yourself busy doing that's like, man, that's awesome. It really is, man. That's a really cool thing, because that's just a recipe for success for you, man, because that's your worry. That's a great thing, man. You want to be productive. You want to grind. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's what it's about, man.
Cool, man. Great answer. Yeah, that's a great one. Seriously. Because a lot of people I've heard a lot of people, I'm not gonna say a lot of people, some of the people that I've talked to just in general, friends and people, they more are worried. I'm like, well, what's your biggest thing, you know, coming out or whatever? Not even on an interview, just me and a friend talking. A lot of them are like, man, the people, they're rude or disrespect or things like that. They worry about that, you know. No, I'm serious. And that's kind of like a recipe for your ass maybe going back, bro, because I hate to break it to you. That's how it is, man. You know, we're all
that's the way the world is out here, you know.
Right. You got to know how to.
People out here, they're not used to getting punched in their mouth over disrespect. So you got to realize that and you know, be like, hey, you know, if you punch them in the mouth, you're going to jail.
Exactly.
So
just,
you know.
Yeah. And they're probably going to piss their pants before it starts anyway. So, Well, man, so this is kind of the one, you know, that's probably a lot of people be, you know, surprised or whatever, because you went back to prison, man. I'm gonna pull up a picture here, one picture here, man, from there.
Yeah,
Centinela, man, state prison. Yeah. And where's that located in California? Is it in?
It's over by El Centro.
Okay.
It's outside of San Diego on the way to Arizona on Highway 8.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so it had been, because this is just recent. It wasn't that long ago, man. And so
yeah,
after how long was it, Mitch? I'm sorry,
about a month.
About a month. That's what I'm saying. Fairly recent, man. You went over there, and so I'll pull up a couple pictures along the way if you want. But man, tell me how it came about.
Show them pictures I sent you if you can. Yeah. That's us riding into the prison. That's me right there on the left. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got another one of you here, man.
There it
This
is.
one here. That's a
Yeah,
great picture, man. Great
yeah,
picture, man.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, that's going in the back of the joint there. Yeah.
Did you let me ask you this, man, before you even get into how it went down and everything. Did you ever think, man? Did you ever, like, in your mind after you got out, like within a year even, did you ever think I'm gonna go back to prison, man? I'm gonna go back
Yeah, I
voluntarily.
wanted to, so I always had shitty board hearings. I had a life sentence, 15 to life. I didn't just get out when it was my time to get out. I had to go in front of the board, and I went to 14 board hearings, and I had 9 hearings. I told them, "Fuck you, I'm not going," because California just got to a point where they weren't let. I said, "You're not letting us out anyway, so why should I go?" And I went to 14. Um, and they usually say, we find you unsuitable for parole, come back in a year, 3. It was down, now 3 years is a minimum that they can deny you. So
Okay.
the board members are all political appointees. And so I was getting ready to go to board, and I had a lawyer. And my board commissioner was Randy Grounds. He worked as a CEO, a lieutenant. He was a warden at Soledad when I was there. Now he's on the board, and guys told me, man, that's the worst board member there is, man. That dude's fucked up, man. Try to, so I'm, wow, okay. So I told my lawyer, I go, hey, man, we should postpone this hearing and get another commissioner. She goes, oh, no. I go, come on, man. She goes, hey, he's just like you. I go, what the fuck you mean he's just like me? Well, turns out, he was like a Marine. He trained ultimate fighting. He's a fucking man's man. She goes, if your victim is a child, a woman, or a cop, you're fucked.
Right.
Well, otherwise, just go there and be straight with him and you'll do fine. And so, he's one of them shake your hand, look you in the eye kind of dudes. And I went in there, and it was the easiest board hearing I ever had. He didn't like previous hearings. You give an answer, and they're like, they question you like you're a liar and make accusations like you're lying, and just because they had no intentions of letting you out, But
Right.
so after the hearing, he came out in the hallway, and he goes, one thing he did say, he goes, because I got busted 5 years prior to that for 6 years for smuggling tobacco, and I got a 5-year denial for it. And he goes, hey, I could have denied you. And I said, I know. And he goes, don't ever take the easy way out again. I said, I won't, and he goes, guys like you are our biggest asset. He goes, you got a story to tell, and I'd like you to tell it. And when you're able to, if you would like to, I'd like you to come back in these prisons and tell your story. So that's what I did, So I had the intention. I want to go to San Quentin because that's kind of, San Quentin is,
Right.
special place for a lot of
I'm
guys.
gonna pull up one picture. Where was this one at, Mitch?
That's San Quentin.
Is that San Quentin? Okay, so that's San Quentin. About what year?
82, maybe 83.
82, man. Who is that squatted? Because he looks familiar, man. I'm trying to think
Well, that's me with a hat
if
on.
it was anyone. I know that's you for sure. I know that's you, Mitch. Next to you, is it? If you don't want to say a name or anything, that's cool. I
don't really remember
that's why
his name.
don't remember.
Really.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
I just he looked familiar. That's the only reason I said that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was 80. That was around 80 something.
Early 80s. I think that guy's name was Ronnie or something. I'm not sure.
And that's at San Quentin. So that's your ultimate of where you want to go back.
I wouldn't mind going back there, just to talk to fellas. But so my I have a channel. So I met a guy, Eric. He's do my channel. He's a member of the Black Sheep Motorcycle Club, and they're a Christian motorcycle club. I won't get too deep into his story, but he dealt with addiction for 20 something years, and he's a Christian. He loves motorcycles, and they do a lot of really positive stuff. They're doing a thing, Angels for Autism. They raise money for down motorcycle riders. They do all kinds of really positive stuff, man. And And he goes, hey, we're going into Sentinella prison. You want to go? And I'm like, all right, yeah. You know, and so, so that's about 5 hours away. So I worked on a Thursday and I got off at 1:30. Mind you, I get up at 2, take off at 3. I work from 5 to 1:30. So at 1:30, I took off and I rode over to California through all kinds of crazy maps. Took me all kinds of crazy shit through Blythe and all these hay fields and fucking nuts. Anyway, I got over there and man, they had a hotel room for me. We went into the prison the next day. We spent the whole day on the yard. There's a captain there. He's got 28 years in the system. He's going to retire in a couple years, but he rides motorcycles. And, you know, he grew up in Linwood, which is over by Long Beach. You know, man, they had us open our saddlebags. All our cell phones and shit we put in a truck that wasn't going in the yard. Mm-hmm. They didn't search me. They didn't ask me no stupid questions. They just had us line our bikes up. They looked in our saddlebags and they just told us, don't be passing shit to these guys. And that was it, man. I mean, total respect.
Respect, man. Yeah.
I'm just cool. We rode our bikes on the yard and parked them on the basketball court.
Nice.
They set the stage. You know, obviously the message was, you know, Christian-based message. So I walked around the yard just talking to people, telling about my motorcycle and all that. And I told them about my story. You know, hey, I did 38 years in here, man. So, you know, and we had some black dude tell us, hey, he's been in that prison since it opened in like 93. Damn. And he goes, I've never seen anything like this in this prison ever. So
really, man.
Yeah. I said, hey, we're just here to show you guys some love, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's a different angle, man. I'm going to pull up a couple pictures while we're talking to you again, because these were great. Man.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. So y'all actually got to pull onto the yard, onto the basketball court and stuff, huh?
Yeah, we're on the yard all day. At lunch, went in the gym, had lunch. Because at lunch, they run the yard in, then they run the yard back out. That's the captain there with that flannel on. Mm-hmm. Okay. The guy with a greenish blue and black flannel, that's the captain.
Okay.
And you can see the guy with a black sheep patch on his cutoff. There's leather there.
Yeah, that's I see it. Yeah. With the nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Man, that's super cool, man. So one of my questions I have for you with that is, did any of the inmates know you or your story, or had they heard of your channel at all?
No, I didn't meet anyone that I knew, you know.
Wow, that's amazing. Is there a lot of newer guys there, or just
but you gotta figure I did most of my time up north. I did some time in Donovan and Lancaster, but I always did most of my time up north, you know.
Okay. Okay.
Because back when I went to prison, they didn't really have any prisons down south. But you know, and look, that was a level 3 mainline yard. And you know, the cops let us know, hey man, there's some gangsters on that yard, you know, very serious guys. And so I talked to I talked to just about, you know, white guys, some Hispanic guys, whatever, but I had a couple Mexican cats, you know, Southsiders, like, hey man, they see guys are getting out. They got life terms. One dude had 80 to life. He'd been down 20 years, but things are changing and guys are getting breaks and are getting out. It's not like when I went into prison at the beginning of Tough on Crime, and you know, they stripped us of everything you could ever imagine in prison. But so my message to them was, you know, look, I'm out. I was that guy walking around the yard saying, oh, you're going to college? You think they're going to let you out because you're going to college? You're going to die in here just like me. I really thought that I was going to die in prison. I believe that. And I lived like that. So, you know, I'm out. And, you know, and I asked them, you know, I asked a few of them, I said, you know, I know you got to do what you got to do when it's time to do it. But, you know, how do your big homies feel about you participating in these self-help programs, you know, going to church and whatever. And they say, hey, man, they're all for it. You know, these are fucking gangsters, you know, they're all for it. And he said, because it's making us better. they're down for us making ourselves better. And I just thought that was the shit, you know.
That's real big homies, man. That's
real big
people that actually care, man. Those are big homies. Dudes that are trying to get you to put in work and get you to have more time. That ain't big homies, man.
Well, you know, there's always someone that's down for putting in work, and sometimes you got to put in work.
Right. But you know,
the guys just want you to go do stupid shit just so you can live in misery with them.
Yes,
I don't give a fuck about nobody, you know. But so
that's it.
But the other message I gave him was like, look, when I was young, back in '84, I told my partners, hey, man, I'm going to take this milling cabinet trade for the board because the board wants you to have vocational training. They want certified vocational training so they can say, we let this guy out knowing he could support himself financially by getting a job, do a trade that he learned in prison. So, and my partners told me, hey, don't take that fucking trade for the board. You take that trade for yourself. And so that's kind of what I was telling them guys, like, you go to these programs, do it for you. Don't do it for the board. And when you go to board, the board's going to recognize that you benefited from it.
Right.
Just by the way you carry yourself, you know? So
that's right. You're not just saying, hey, I just did this crap. Here's my certificate.
I got the paperwork saying I did this program, let me out. It don't work like that, you know?
Right.
So, yeah. Right. And you know.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Mitch.
Towards the end, you know, we're packing everything up, and there was these three dudes. You know, they're youngsters to me, but they're probably in their 30s. You know, and they're about the shit. They had tattoos on the face, all over. You know, the way they carry themselves. You know, they're about the shit, and they say, hey, hey, we just want to thank you for coming in here, man. We really appreciate you. And I was like, cool, you know. So I chatted with him for a while, you know, and I told him, hey, man, look, you know, part of me is always going to be in here, you know, and I ain't forgot where I was, where I came from, and I just want to, you know, come in here and show you guys some love, man, and spread some hope, you know.
Awesome.
And so they really do appreciate us going in there, even, you know, the hardcore fucking yard gangsters, you know, I mean, dude, it's nice to know someone gives a fuck about you, you know?
Right, man. Y'all did something for someone that may really help someone.
Yeah,
man, that may really help one of those dudes see the light and go, hey, man, I need to do this or that, or I can do it, or give them the actual assurance that I can do it. This guy did it. You know what I mean? That's the difference in you doing it also, Mitch, because you were a real dude. You are a real dude. You were really there. You're not just some dude talking about that shit. Somebody that's just saying, hey, you can make it.
Yeah.
Guess what? You ain't been through that shit. You ain't been there for 38 years. You know what I mean? So people respect that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and one dude told Eric, he goes, you know, he goes, like, I really appreciate you guys coming here because I know you're not getting paid to come here.
Right.
You know, we're like, nah, man, we're here, you know, we're here on our own accord, you know, we're here to spread some love, man, you know.
Generally from the heart, man. Like real, like it's as real as it gets, man. I mean, the most precious, important thing you can give somebody is time. You spent your time to travel there, be with those guys, give them a message. Hell, man, that's all awesome. That's commitment for real.
Yeah, I'm glad I did it, you know.
I bet, man. I bet. Did you going in, man? Did you have any, like, what was the feeling going in? You know, did you have any feeling at all, like when you got there going in and stuff? You know?
I said, hey, man, I'm a fucking citizen, you know.
Nice. Oh man, that's cool, man.
And they had a list of all our names, and it said criminal, right? It's have your name, your license, all this shit. What kind of motorcycle you ride? It said criminal, non-criminal, criminal. So they knew we were. They knew.
They know who you are because they're going to check you out, of course. Man. So, in fact, my buddy was able to do the same thing, man, and go back and talk. And he did. His was 27 years, but I mean, he like you. He wanted to go back, man. And most of his time until the last 10 years, he spent screwing up and being involved in mayhem, you know, as opposed to anything positive. So, you know, and he was able. Listen, when he left, he had the same respect as he did when he went in. He just changed what he did, man. You know.
Sure.
So that's
Like
awesome.
you guys said, they making themselves better.
Right. I mean, and the message, like I'm saying, the message coming from you hits different than coming from some guy that just comes in there, trying to spread hope and not really having been there and not understanding that. So
Yeah.
that's cool, man. Really cool. There is one story I do want you to talk about, man, before I go into anything else. Also, it's an older one, but it always is one of my favorite, man. And yeah.
Oh yeah. I did that.
About Charlie, man.
Look, I want to tell you something, right? Because the nose, Mike the Rat Thompson, he talks about that swastika on Charlie's forehead, and he's full of shit. I tattooed that swastika on Charlie's forehead. So if you remember, Charlie he carved an X in his forehead, all the Manson people. And then he had a backwards. If you look at earlier photographs, he had a backward swastika on his forehead.
Right.
And then some nut. So Charlie used to go to occupational therapy. It's like a hobby shop for the nuts. And there was a Harry Krishner guy up there. And, I won't use the same words Charlie used, but he had a picture of a black dude. And he used to tell guys, "Your daddy black? Is your daddy black, boy? Why are you practicing a black man's religion, boy?" And he would fuck with this guy all the time. Right. So one day the guy threw thinner in Charlie's face and lit him on fire. So Charlie had like a skin peel. Didn't burn him up real bad, but just took off with a couple layers of skin. So he told me, "Hey man, I want you to redo that thing on my forehead." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, And Charlie was on the main line there in Vacaville. We were all doing lifer programs. And, really nobody give a shit about him. He's just a dude. Right. All that, the Folgers family has a hit out on him and all that shit. So if you take him out, how are you going to collect?
Right.
You got to admit to a fucking 187 to collect the money. Come on.
Yeah.
Who do you contact? Hey, I just whacked this dude. You pay me.
Can you send over my commissary 300 at a time or whatever is allowed?
Yeah. I mean, no one really give a shit about Charlie being there. But so I was tattooing on this guy Gypsy, and I seen Charlie walk by in the hallway, and this is in G3, and I go, "Hey Charlie," and "What's up?" I go, "Come here." I go, "Give me some weed." He took his shoe off and he put a pile of weed on my locker. I go, "Squat down here." I carve that swastika in his forehead. And I go, "Put your bandana on, man. Get the fuck out of here." That's how that happened.
That's the story, and that's what happened. That one always gets me, man. Every time I hear that one from you, man, because it's just such a crazy story, man.
He was just a convict. He was an old convict guy, been in prison, juvenile hall facilities his whole fucking life. Right. He studied, yoga, Buddhism, all that Siddha shit, and he just knew how to manipulate them hippies, So
right. Do you think he was really like seeing him being around? Do you think he was really a insane or whatever? I mean, a nut or whatever, man. Or do you think he was just a dude that knew how to?
A lot of the stuff you see, like when he does the interviews with Diane Sawyer and all that stuff, he's just playing at a camera.
Got you.
He used to call me. He used to call me the Odan man. So the reason I met Charlie is my cellie Eddie Ragsdale was a clerk in a nut unit, right? And so Charlie would give him cassette tapes. Like, say he wanted to write a letter to Squeaky Fromm, he would just say it all on a tape and give it to Rags, and Rags would type it into a letter and keep the tape.
Gotcha.
And then Rags was a musician, so he would have Charlie come to the cell, and they'd play guitars, and he'd tape record it. Right. And he'd ask Charlie questions, and Charlie would start singing. He recorded all that shit. He was going to make a CD when he got out, have it all digitally remastered. And so that's how I got to know Charlie,
Gotcha.
But Rags got out and drowned in a fishing accident.
Damn.
An accident,
huh?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, he drowned in a fishing accident. So that never took place, but he had all those tapes, you know.
He had his. Yeah, I remember you telling us before. Yeah.
I always regret not getting one of them tapes, man.
I bet, man. Yeah. Yeah. I know a guy who got a commissary. He was in the feds, man. And he got a commissary receipt from one of the old mob bosses that somebody else had gotten. And he had those. He sold them to the mob museum, man. This guy did eventually because it was like, what the hell is he going to do with it? But it had the guy's name and all that. But anyway, also, let me see. There was one guy I was going to ask you about too, man, and this is kind of off. It just popped in my mind thinking about it. Did you ever come across that skater, Mark Rogowski?
Yeah.
Gator. Was Gator?
Gator.
Right.
Gator Donovan when I was there.
Okay.
And
they were talking about releasing him a couple of years ago or something.
Oh, they were. Yeah, he's a Christian, you know, all that stuff. But, you know, some of the homeboys, you know, they ran him off the weight pile.
Yeah, he had a bad crime, bro. Right?
He had a bad crime. My homeboy Nick went up and spit in his face. Told him, get the fuck off the weight pile or I'm going to fuck you off, you know.
Right. Yeah.
He wouldn't let him come on the weight pile. Wouldn't let him come around. Yeah. Then eventually someone tried to cut him or some shit. I don't know. They didn't do a very good job, you know.
I remember it was a bad one. So I would wonder how he
ran some shit stuffed her in a trunk, some bullshit. Then
buried her in the desert and stuff. Yeah,
then he became a Christian and he confessed to it. So
right.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, he was a meek, mild-mannered guy. He was polite, nice, whatever.
I could imagine, bro.
I don't him all that much because he had a fucked up crime, and when I ran into him like 93, 94 around there, and I was still into selling dope and partying, and you know he was just doing that Christian thing, and plus he had a fucked up case, so you know I was just wait for the day. There's certain guys, you know, you sit around wait for the day someone does bad shit.
Yeah. That's what I'm surprised in California. Did he made it as long as he did?
You know, Donovan back then was a pretty easy place to be.
Gotcha.
You know.
Yeah, not that I want him to or anything. I'm just saying, knowing kind of how California is, it kind of shocked me that he was able to, because I've seen him before. He used to come to skate contest here, man, and I'd seen him at different stuff, and he wasn't no big dude or nothing like that. So I know
he's not a big guy. Yeah, and he's not violent. He's not a tough guy. None of that shit.
No,
but you know, like people don't understand. Like California prisons up to a certain point in time, like in mid to late '90s, started changing. But the whole time I was in prison up to that time, people really didn't give a shit about, you know, certain stuff. Like if you're a rapo or you know, you could get, you know, child molester, you got whacked. They, you know, taken out the box. If a guy, you know, if you cross paths with a prison gang, whatever, you could get taken out the box. Or, you know, there was a guy in San Quentin. He was the chosen few. It's an interracial motorcycle club. They stabbed that, killed him, just for he was in an interracial motorcycle club. But I mean, you had dudes in prison, man, like they were weird fuckers, you know, but nobody gave a fuck about them. Nobody cared about them. They weren't trying to be part of our crew or no, you know. Yeah. Those guys always had jobs where you never saw them. You see them at chow, see them in the shower, and that was about it. So, you know, now it's like I say, you know, tough guys back then, they had personalities. They were funny. Some of them were characters, but they take somebody right out the box. And now you got guys that they might take you out the box, and some of them won't. Some of them are just faking, but they play that hard game 24/7. Right. There's no laughing, joking, kicking it, you know. And then now it's time to be hard. You know, somebody fucked around. Now they're gonna find out. Now it's just guys. You know, a lot of guys. They got that hard rock face on 24/7, dude, and they try to make life miserable for everyone around them. And prison's really fucking fucked up now, you know.
Yeah, man, I can, man. You got out just in time, Mitch.
Yeah, I did. You know,
thank God, man. Hey, man, that's a blessing, man. Honestly, man, it's so awesome, man. I love your story. Is there anything that you would tell a guy who's maybe about to get out or, has gotten out and he's like wondering, what do I need to do? What's the deal?
Yeah, well, like you want to look for employment, and you want to don't be in a hurry. That's the main thing. A lot of guys get out and they feel like, hey, I got this coming. I did 5, 10 years, 20 years. I got that coming. You don't have shit coming. You don't have a free fucking pass to get loaded coming. You don't have a free ride for kickdowns coming. What you got coming is what you figure out and go out and get. But the thing is, like I had a friend come see me. He did a life sentence and got out before me, Mark, and he came to see me. He's from Orange County. I was in Los Angeles, and he goes, "Hey, look, it's going to take you a year to assimilate out here. In a year, you're going to be assimilated into society. Takes about a year to be like normally functioning. It takes about a year.
Right.
Nothing's going to happen overnight, so don't be in a hurry. Otherwise you're going to be in a hurry right back to a jail cell. Because guys start thinking, hey man, things aren't happening the way I want. Guys sit in prison, man, and they have these ideas in their head, pictures in their head, things they want to get, things they want to do, how they're going to get it, how they're going to do it. And the day you get out, none of that, all that shit's out the window. It never goes the way you figure it.
Right.
It's not. It's just it's a prison cell illusion. Mm-hmm. So don't be in a hurry, and don't sweat people to give you shit you don't have coming.
Right.
You're gonna get in a wreck. Just but there are people out here that will help you. Mm-hmm. I had the Francisco house, man. That was the best thing I ever did.
Awesome.
Let's go there. But don't be in a hurry, man, and don't sweat it. You're free. You're free now. Make the most of it. Use your head and figure it out. And use the people around you, either your family, your friends, people that love you, or people that are paid to help you in programs. Have them help you figure it out. Don't be afraid to ask them, because they got some of the answers you might need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh man, great. Hey, that's great, man. I'm gonna pull up this one here, man. Do you still got your merch over there, man?
Some stuff. Most of our stuff is on our community page on our website now.
Okay, and so go ahead, man. Tell them it's hardintentions.com.
Yeah, I got a YouTube channel, Hard Intentions, and if you go to our community page, you can see our T-shirts and stuff that we have available.
Yeah, and you've designed all this is stuff that you designed, right?
Yeah,
and then you got your artwork.
Yeah, that was Viking. That I did that with pencil. That's a pencil drawing I had turned into a T-shirt.
Awesome.
And, yeah, I got several different designs. It's a shirt. Let's see, where's my fucking logo, right?
Yeah, with your logo. Yeah.
Yeah, we lived in Placerville for about 5 years, and then we moved to Arizona, bought a house. And to be quite honest, it takes a lot of money to maintain shirts, inventory at the house. So we have Teespring do it. They do stuff for guys who have YouTube channels. So they produce our shirts now. So if you go to our community page, you can see it right there.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's great. Man, Mitch, listen, man, I appreciate you taking the time, man. I really me and you, we message back and forth all the time, man. And I got a lot of respect for you. And I honestly, man, I really do. I appreciate you taking out the time to give people this information, and that the stuff you're doing, man, it's awesome, man. It's positive, and it's great, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah,
good chatting with you. It's cool.
Of course, man. Yeah, thanks. And everybody go over and obviously subscribe to Mitch's channel, Hard Intentions. And great channel. He's got great content all the time, and I appreciate everyone watching the show. And make sure you hit like, subscribe, all that stuff, man. Tune in for the next one, and we appreciate you, Mitch. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
For sure.
Take care.
Sure, man. For sure.
Get out there and do it hard.
Do it hard, man. If you